Just some general thoughts regarding the land ethic, our debts to the past and to the future. What these are largely are discussions of who to include in the moral community. Obviously, the land has no will, so it cannot be a moral agent. It has no neurological system of its own, so it can't literally feel pain or pleasure. The dead are dead, so they're out of the pain and pleasure business, and also the autonomy business. The future, it's not in either one of them yet. We're going to have to count them at best as moral patients, not moral agents. And the question then becomes, are they moral patients? Are they the sorts of things we need to look out for? Well, certainly not how the idea was initially proposed. Initially, moral patients were about persons who either weren't yet or had been in the past but were no longer moral agents. Children, moral patients. The infirm, for whatever reason, moral patients. Perhaps even the elderly, moral patients, because they're no longer effective in decision making, in making judgments, having the will to do what needs to be done. None of this is true of the land. It's never going to suddenly grow a will. It's not ever going to be capable of rational thought. It doesn't think. On the other hand, the dead have done. And the future hasn't yet. Can we even talk about them in any sense as moral patients when they aren't actually in the world to worry about? That's why I suggest that if we will take care of the obvious moral patients, require the moral behavior of already existing moral agents, that we will realize the goals our authors propose. We can protect the land for our own selfish reasons, or our moral reasons, or our own generous reasons, because without the land, there are no people. The land will be here. The planet, while not completely beyond our power to destroy, is pretty damn close. And it would require an intentional assault, not our sort of byproduct that we're living with now. It is we that we must protect, not the planet. It is in our benefit to protect life as we are living things ourselves. As to the past and the future, whenever we discuss this in classes, persons always talk about the past in terms of their parents or grandparents, people they actually knew who came before them, people with whom they had actual relationships. And they say, I owe this to my father, I owe this to my grandfather. And they make sense of that. You can't owe things to the whole of human history. It would be a debt you could never discharge. So why can we even talk about accruing it, especially when it's not a debt that we intentionally took on? Whenever we talk about the future, students want to discuss their children, or in a few rare instances, their grandchildren. And they actually know these people. It's hard to talk about debts we have to the people of 3,000 here in 2021. But we can make sense of looking back to the people we know, looking ahead to the people we know. And if we will discharge our debts to the past, if we will look out for the people right in front of us, the children and the grandchildren, and they look out for theirs, and they look out for theirs, it all will work out on its own. We don't have to construct some kind of explanation for why I can't pay my debt to everybody in the past, but I must pay it to some. Why? How on earth can you pick who you shall choose to acknowledge or celebrate or somehow commemorate? To whom? You can only be reminded of people who bought objects and expecting to pass them on for generations, and 2 generations down the road, people looking at it going, what's this? All I'm supposed to do with this? And it winds up in a cabinet. And if you deal with the living, the dead and the unborn will take care of themselves as they emerge in our lives.